In the first half of a Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup Twin Bill weekend, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca lived up to its wild reputation. Veteran Aramal was out of gas, but still able to limp to the bottom of the podium. Elliott Skier outlasted his teammate for the victory, but there was controversy.
He just never hit the brakes. I mean, just flat out just drilled me.
The incident left Dean Copeland's team with a long night of repair work and some thoughts of revenge.
He's gonna have to watch out.
It is time for the second half of the Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup doubleheader from Mazda Raceway. Next. Welcome to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. We're in Monterey, California on the Mazda Motorsports Hour. Today it's coverage of the Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. Champion road racer Randy Pobst will join me on the call, and Todd Lewis has our coverage down on pit road. Things are markedly different for the second half of this doubleheader weekend. Our previous event run under blue skies, sunny weather, beautiful conditions here on the Monterey Peninsula, but today a whole lot different. Fog has descended on this beautiful facility, and we're going to be delayed a little bit before we can get things going. A lot of storylines going into today's event. Yesterday's winner, Elliott Skier, heavily penalized by SCCA Pro Racing for avoidable contact. Todd Lewis talked to him after the event.
I know you're not happy about it. You still get to keep the trophy, but you did get penalized yesterday after the race. It has a pretty significant impact on the championship as it sits now. Does that change your strategy or approach to today's race?
Yeah, it definitely does affect the strategy throughout the season. I think it just has to mark a point in the season where from now on, we almost have to look at it as a different focus, not as keeping the lead, but as trying to get back to it. But the thing is now I have to be smart in every race and bring home maximum points as possible. I can't now go for the win and then possibly fall back to fifth or something. I have to be as close to the front as possible in pretty much every race and try to get as many poles as possible to see if I can get back in the championship up by maybe San Diego or Road Atlanta.
So Elliott Skier will certainly have his work cut out for him when we do go green. Let's bring in the third member of our broadcast crew, Todd Lewis, with our pole sitter for today's event.
Ira, you'll start on pole when we do get this event underway here at Mazda Raceway. Nice change for you. You're trying for fast laps, of course, during qualifying, but we usually see you on pole for a fast lap in a race.
Yeah, it's always been the case that I get fast laps in a race. I think I've got the track record at a whole bunch of different tracks, but it was my first pole position, and it came because we were doing it based on fast lap. So it was nice to get it. It's nice to get the first pole after 7 years in the series, and feels good.
Are you going to be wearing the sunglasses for the race today?
Optimism, optimism, optimism.
Definitely. All right. Now, being on pole, of course, you want to try to get away from the rest of the field. What other strategy might you employ? You seem to be able to change and save your tires yesterday during the race.
Yeah, we have a really good setup for this track, and you know, it's going to come down to staying clean in that first lap when there's the melee in the front and not being part of any bad events that may happen. So the trick is to just be clean and, you know, try to break away, but it's always challenging to do that here.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, as we get set to go racing here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, second half of a doubleheader weekend. Let's take a look at our points table after 3 rounds. Now, Randy Pobst, Elliott Skier, a driver who certainly appeared to be on his way to an opportunity to win this championship. That 40-point penalty has set him back quite a bit.
Interesting in his interview that he didn't seem to offer defense. And I was curious. I'd love to have a direct conversation with him. 40 points is a lot. It's going to really affect how he's sitting.
It puts Stephen McAleer back to the top of the points table by 9 over John Dean. Aramal moves to third. Christian Simzak and Skier all the way down to fifth. And the margin, well, the 40 points, he would have been the leader coming into this event. Dean Copeland sixth. How about our Mazda keys to the race?
Well, we're at Laguna Seca, and late braking into turn 2 is all about taking the lead. That's the best passing opportunity. You've got to be quick in the corkscrew, straighten it out as much as you can, use the curb on the exit, and the start, of course. That standing start is so critical, and using the curbs properly, the low ones stay off the high ones.
Drivers, start your Mazda engines.
Signal going out on pit road to fire the motors. A little different scenario here. Cars will enter from the pit area, from the paddock, and then drive up onto the racetrack because of this fog, Randy Pobst. It's taken us a little while to get going here. Take us around this beautiful facility.
Well, we're back at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and it is a different track when it's foggy. And almost every morning it starts out cool and foggy. Normally it's a lot faster. That's horsepower, and that's actually grip. This pavement just doesn't seems to have more grip when the temperature's lower. Looks like vision might be an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, this fog is looking mighty thick.
And I wonder if the surface will be damp. We'll see what happens. Aaron Malkasian on the pole from his fast race lap yesterday. John Dean will line up second in the 16 car for 6 sideways. Elliott Skier, our Mazda Speed driver development ladder winner. Our scholarship driver starts third. And Christian Simzak, the other 6 sideways entry from Sebring, Florida, lines up fourth. He's actually out of California. Stephen McAleer from Scotland races now out of the New York City area, starts fifth. Dean Copeland from Bowie, Maryland in that 7 car. We told you a bit of his story. 6th. 4th row, Nathaniel Sparks in the 3 car. And then Steve Bottom from Newport Beach, California. Back to the 5th row, Tim Probert in the 26, one of the Alara entries. Brandon Kidd in the 29th car will start alongside. He is also a C.J. Wilson team driver. Matt Schultz will start 11th from Clackamas, Washington. Brett Mosing in that 10. Back to the 7th row, Ari Strauss in the 27. Guy Lading in the 06 car, making his first start with us this weekend of the season. Our female competitors make up the 8th row, Beth Christ in the 2. Emily Timinovich in the 16th starting spot in that 19 car. Headlights are on here today. We'll show you the rest of the starting grid as we come to a stop for the standing start. And Randy, back to what I was asking about earlier, any chance with the fog? This is a damp surface this morning.
I think there is a chance of that. It'll be interesting to see, and these drivers are not having much of a chance to figure out what the surface is like. It's going to be interesting.
Let's take a look at the starting order for our Skip Barber Mazda Speed Pro Challenge entries. Kenton Cook in the 96, Zachary Lee, Brian Hickson and Kevin Marshall will make up row number 2, David Knight, and then the rest of the starting orders. There's Aaron Malkasian in the 11. The 16 car, that's the car of John Dean.
You see the headlights on for all the cars this morning. The conditions are dramatically different from what they were yesterday. The track conditions also significantly different. A little damp, a little slick as they rev the engines to get ready to go. It'll be key to get through the first couple of corners smoothly.
And you can see the front row is a little bit uphill. That makes it tricky to get a start here, and I thought I saw maybe a little roll.
I think Aaron Malkasian may have jumped that start. Let's see what happens here as we get going. Underway for round number 2 of our doubleheader weekend. Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup, Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Side by side into the first couple of corners. Big jailbreak heading down the hill.
John Dean trying him around the outside, and he takes the lead. That's a good move. Aggressive on this in these conditions.
3 even 4 wide at times as we work out of 1 and 2, and it's Dean, Malkasian, and then the rest of the field filling in. And this is a great opportunity to make some early gains here if you get off to a good start.
You know what? It's a little risky driving hard when you don't know what the grip's going to be, but that's how you can get in the lead.
Under the Cooper Tires Bridge, heading for the first couple of corners. Lap number 1 at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. We're glad to have you with us on the Mazda Motorsports Hour. And John Dean, the former drifter, knifing to the lead early.
He has got the bit between his teeth. He's running strong, and Malkasian too, and they're already starting to gap the field.
On board here with Elliott Skier, opening round winner here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Question is, did Aaron Malkasian jump the start? I'm sure SCCA Pro Racing officials taking a close look at our video here to make that determination.
It looked like he might have rubbed that clutch a little early, but we couldn't see the lights. We just saw him go early. Into the corkscrew. They're just diving right into the pea soup.
Take another look at that start. For standing start here at Mazda Raceway from onboard our Replay XD onboard camera. Oh, and you see it. The green lights were not on.
Oh, yeah, he got a little too anxious.
So Aaron Malkasian may well face a penalty here. We'll find out as we go through the rest of the morning.
You know, you got your finger twitching on that trigger, and it's so easy to do that.
Man, yeah, you hate that. 3 wide going into turn 11. The 69 car able to bust through. That's one of the Skip Barber cars. That's Zachary Lee's entry, the Alpha Motorsport B Plus Foundation entry out of San Antonio, Texas. Dean is your leader. Scoring strip, top of your screen. Malkasian second. Copeland up to third after repairing that car. Nathaniel Sparks in the 3. Now, he did not have a good first race here at Mazda Raceway, but he's up into the top 5.
I remember Sparks from Sebring running really well, so it's great to see him back in the competition. And boy, look at John Dean go, opening up that lead.
Tim Probert back there in 9th, Brandon Kidd in 10th, Stephen McAleer really struggling in this one.
It seems that we've got a little bit of setup change here. The track is different, and the guys' setups are affecting their speed.
John Dean, your early leader. There's Aaron Malkasian in second. We look back a little bit. Momentarily looked as though we might have a 3 wide charge as Christian Simzak is trying to pick up some ground.
What is Simsack doing way back there?
Don't know.
He must have had some trouble. He's going to have to be working his way back up, I believe.
Well, Christian Simsack, who started in pretty good shape in 4th position, has gotten himself shuffled back. He's now back there in 7th. Steve Bottom has gotten by him. Let's get on board here. Christian Simsack, our Replay XD onboard look for you. He's got that visor up in the early morning fog.
Yeah, and he's into the corkscrew, down a 2nd gear, jumping off the cliff. And I'm impressed with Copeland and especially Sparks. They've moved way on up to 3rd and 4th.
And Christian Simsack trying to find his way around Steve Bottom there. That's the red car, the 44 out of Newport Beach, California, the Racer Magazine entry. Now, one of the stories here, and I think one of the things to concentrate on, Randy Popes, in this fog, you've got very difficult conditions. This is a shorter race. These are timed events. And because of the fog, it delayed the start of the day here at Mazda Raceway. SCCA Pro Racing officials shortening this one down by about 15 minutes.
Oh, well, that'll make it a little easier on tires. They're going to be able to run harder.
Up over the hill, heading down toward turn 2 at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Simsack makes a pass.
Good start, fellas, for Dean Copeland, who's moved up 3 positions from 6th on the grid when they started this race. He, of course, had those troubles yesterday, was bumped by Elliott Skier. He thought he had a car to win yesterday. He wound up changing transmissions twice yesterday. The first replacement went in, and he had trouble getting it into gear. Took it out, put another one in. Seems to be working well so far, and he's hopeful he's got another car capable of winning.
So Dean Copeland charging to 3rd. Your race leader, though, is John Dean. Aaron Malkasian in 2nd, and there is Copeland, a guy who feels like he's got a lot of ground to make up after yesterday.
These trannies really get a workout in the races.
No question about that. And quality, durability, reliability of Mazda and Mazda Speed parts at the forefront here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in California on the Mazda Motorsports Hour with Randy Popst and Todd Lewis. I'm Rick Benjamin. Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup is underway. Second half of a doubleheader weekend. At the moment, everyone chasing John Dean out of Sebring, Florida in that 6 sideways car. Stephen McAleer started 5th. He's gotten shuffled back to 12th. McAleer, one of our championship contenders, we thought, Randy, but he's not having a good day.
A talented driver who has a tendency to yo-yo up and down a little bit, making the mistake, I think, because he pushes so hard. Like someone else getting way out of shape there into turn 4.
Saw a car get way offline. Back up in front, it's still John Dean from Sebring, Florida. One of the 2 6 sideways cars. The car of Aaron Malkasian, the yellow Alara machine, in 2nd. Dean Copeland from Bowie, Maryland in that 7 car running in 3rd spot in the early laps here today at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Been a busy weekend for many of us here. Randy, you were over across the street at the SPCA Adoption Center.
My 2nd visit to the Monterey SPCA with my friends from Mazda. Love these animals, and I love the work they're doing for them.
Mazda's been working with the Monterey County SPCA for years now, and as the owner of an adopted dog, I know what kind of importance it is to help the shelters out and get these animals in good homes.
This is a huge program, both to Mazda and also to myself as a playmate. I mean, to be able to work with the SPCA here in the Monterey County is incredible. It's right next to the track, so I mean, we can just walk right over, but there's so many homes that are just missing a little companion like this. I mean, look at Snickers. I know you want to take him home. He's so cuddly. He's so sweet. You know, but if you're, well, I promise he's not rambunctious at all. I promise. But you know, I mean, they've got everything here. They've got horses, turtles, cats, dogs, bunnies. I mean, toads. So whatever it is that's missing from your home, you can find here at the SPCA shelter.
And you know what? Snickers there
Uh-huh.
was adopted and taken home by Emily Taminovich from the MX-5 Cup.
Yeah, she races one of our MX-5 Cup machines, drives the True Car entry, so good stuff indeed. Ken Cook in the 96 is your early leader among the Skip Barber Mazda Speed Pro Challenge entries, doing a great job.
We saw him over at the SPCA. He was one of the stars of our clip.
Absolutely, from Glendora, California, a young driver who expects to work his way up the Mazda Speed driver development ladder, wants to be an MX-5 Cup full-time next season. For 4th, Christian Simsack and Nathaniel Sparks. Now, Simsack from California putting a charge on here. Had some problems early.
Yeah, he is. He is going quick. I think the 6 sideways cars have got a setup for these damp conditions.
So he gets around Sparks and picks up another position there. So Simsack headed, hopefully, he's thinking to the front. Let's get back on board our Replay XD onboard view here. Watching Simsack at work. Look at the eyes.
Oh, that's concentration. That's focus. One of the great things about driving a race car is that there's nothing else that can be in your mind if you're going to be good at it. And Christian is quick.
On to turn 11 and onto the front straightaway. Up front, it's still his teammate John Dean, then Aaron Mulcahy, and then Dean Copeland. Copeland's got a lot of speed in that 7, but he hasn't been able to do much yet to track down Aaron Mulcahy. 5 laps are complete here at Mazda Raceway.
This is turn 2, where we talked about the braking being so important at the end of the longest straightaway. And these cars currently are awfully well matched. And we saw John Dean running really hard at the beginning, taking the chances in the unknown conditions. Now Aaron Mulcahy and Dean seem to be able to match him. And they're looking for whatever advantage they can get. I think Dean Copeland's got something to prove right now.
Copeland out of Bowie, Maryland, in that 7 car. That's a family team, small team, 1-car effort. Starting to work hard here to get closer to Aaron Mulcahy. Era commands the Elara team, and at times they fielded as many as 5 cars in these Playboy MX-5 Cup events. Take a look back. There's Simzak up to 4th now, and Sparks getting shuffled to 5th.
And he's got the wheel marks down the side of the car that probably indicate may have some of the action that was going on back there.
Those BFGs lay down nice tire donuts on your bodywork if you're not careful, right?
Yeah, they do. You get that black stripe. Whoa, a little bit of dirt. But look at the gaps opening up here, and where are the C.J. Wilson cars?
Nowhere in the hunt at this point, but we're still early in the going. Now Copeland on the gas, down through the corkscrew, grabbing a gear.
I love that view. Leaping off, you can feel the air that they get coming off that corner. Now they're down into 10, steep downhill entry, and then it goes level and catches you. He's right on the tail of Era. He might make a move.
To the inside.
He's trying him.
Past the pit entrance into 11.
He's in if he can make it stick. Out onto the AstroTurf.
Wow.
He's through, but I don't know if it's over yet. No, Era's coming back underneath him. That was a double pass. It's not over yet. They're heading for turn 2, where we talked about how important the braking is. Copeland's got to try him around the outside, and that's going to be tough. The grip is not good on the outside of turn 2.
Aaron Mulcahy back to the inside, claims 2nd spot. Now, of course, in road course racing, happens all the time. You make an inside move, but you may be poorly positioned at the exit for the next corner.
You got it. Dean Copeland went in so hard that he couldn't get a good exit off the corner. But look, he's still quicker than Era. He sure thinks he is, giving them a lot of hassle. But guess what? That's helping John Dean get away.
Best thing in the world, if you're leading one of these races, look in the mirror and see your next couple of cars fighting side by side for position, right?
Yes, sir, and it's still pretty early in the race. I don't know if I'd be giving up John Dean in the lead yet, at only where we're not even halfway through this race.
So if you were Dean Copeland and you were Aaron Mulcahy, one or the other, you'd maybe thinking, okay, let's work together and try to track down the leader here.
Well, by moment in the race, the driver's got to make that decision. Is that guy holding me up, or can we be faster together? Obviously, Dean felt that Era is maybe holding him up, and the way Dean Copeland gets on Aaron Mulcahy's back bumper, I think maybe he is.
Back again down through the corkscrew here, still early in the going at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. And now, one of the things I've always been fascinated by this part of the racetrack, you're carrying a lot of momentum when you come down that hill, aren't you?
Yeah, you are. You're driving right down, what is it, a 5-story building?
Yeah.
And Dean Copeland is good there. Look at him coming out right on the tail of Aaron Mulcahy. But last lap, he had a heck of a run. I think Era had a little bit of a stumble in turn 9 or turn 10, which got Dean Copeland in a position to make that move, but he didn't make it stick.
Taking a look back from the Replay XD onboard cameras on John Dean's car, back at that battle for 2nd spot. Mulcahy has that position by a couple of car lengths. Here's Copeland, though, trying to make another charge out of 2. Down to Todd Lewis.
Guys, an update on Steve McAleer, who started 5th in this race, but has dropped all the way back to 15th. From race control, there were a number of cars that had contact going through corner number 2. Steve has not mentioned anything specific about that corner to the team, but they believe that is where the problem occurred, and that's what's caused Steve McAleer to drop way back in the field.
See, so it's not a setup issue, it's a reset-up issue. He probably got realigned down there in that pack of cars on the first lap.
Meantime, Aaron Mulcahy holding on to 2nd. Copeland trying to get around him as we go up the hill toward the corkscrew. The question for me, Randy, is does Aaron Mulcahy get to keep that position, or does he receive a penalty for jumping the start?
Well, it looked pretty darn obvious on the in-car video, and I think those SCCA Pro guys got a taste of that, and I think Era's going to get some trouble. But they got by the traffic clean. Traffic's an important issue in these MX-5 Cup races, and so far that has not affected the lead. It does look like Era might be holding up Copeland a little bit.
Possibly so. They continue to run 2nd and 3rd on the racetrack. I've got to think Aaron Mulcahy is going to receive a penalty before the checkered flag, or maybe just afterward. Meantime, John Dean continues to be our...
Oh, look at that. There's Era diving for the pits. He's got a penalty. He's going to get in and out as fast as he can.
Ara Mulcassian makes the turn onto pit road in his number 11. Yes, he was penalized for jumping the start. He tried to stop himself, but still was penalized by the SCCA officials, taken out of second spot in the race.
Oh, that hurts. A small mistake on the start. That stop and go. It's going to move Ara way back in the field. It's very painful. Basically, the race is over for Ara. He had a shot at a win, but not now. Fortunately, I hope he didn't speed on pit lane. That's the next thing that happens a lot when you have one of those stop and goes.
Yeah, you said get in and out as quickly as he can, but there is a speed limit now.
That's right. There's a darn speed limit.
Trouble. Looked like Dean Copeland got sideways, laid a tire off in the dirt there. That allows John Dean to scoot away to an even bigger margin. The gap now about 10 or 12 car lengths as they head up the hill toward the corkscrew. So that drive-through penalty from Mulcassian certainly kills his opportunity to win today for the Elara team. We'll see if he can salvage a good finish when we come back at Mazda Raceway.
Race engineering is vitally important to the success for a race car team and a race car driver. Elliott Skier in the MX-5 Cup Series, it's something that you kind of pursued since you were younger and a student, and you have a little help this weekend with Neil Roberts coming on board to help you out.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the dream for me is to become the driver, but I want to end up on a team, a race team, no matter what. And it seems like the other option there is to be the race car engineer, to be the one working the setup, working with the drivers, and to try to make their equipment the best possible, to try to go get the best results possible.
And while the success seems to be happening this weekend, Neil Roberts, the author of the book Think Fast, all about race car engineering. Have you been able to impart some of that wisdom into Elliott yet?
Well, I certainly hope so. Actually, I think he can help me more than I'm helping him right now. He's doing a fantastic job. I'm very impressed with Elliott. And it's great that guys like Elliott are interested in getting into engineering because this sort of environment teaches you how complex machines work. And, Elliott has a really good idea of how to actually use them, which is rare for engineers.
Okay, Elliott, have you read the book?
Yes, I have. I have read the book.
What did you find in Neil's book that's helped you?
A lot with the overall car design and how specific components work with each other. I've read a lot of engineering books about cars where it talks about a specific component and how it works on itself, but to see how all of them work together in one machine is something that really stood out in his book.
Understanding how the cars go fast so you can have success in whatever racing discipline works for you.
Well, you've heard me mention setup several times. The machine is so important in racing. That's why it's a team.
Sure, absolutely the case. As we watch John Dean continuing to lead, Ara Mulcassian had been second. 6 laps on the board. He gives up that spot. That moves Dean Copeland into second position. Christian Simzak now has advanced to third. Nathaniel Sparks will take over fourth. And Elliott Skier penalized for avoidable contact during the first half of our doubleheader weekend. He moves up into the top 5. Skier was the championship leader before being hit with that 40-point penalty. For 10th, Guy Leidig, Brandon Kidd, they've been running back there in that tandem. Leidig has 10th position right now, getting late in the going here because of the shortened race today, trying to move up.
That was a good example of a pass into turn 11 that worked. He went inside, slowed it down, got a good run off the corner, and stayed ahead. The pass stuck.
Now, Stephen McAleer having even worse difficulties. He said obvious problems here today, being shown back in 15th spot. So that could be crucial to McAleer's bid to win this championship.
Been a real change in the fortunes for these teams. Yesterday, way up front, CJ Wilson cars. Now, they're out of it.
Yeah.
And the 6 sideways cars are looking really strong. Look at Simzak coming all the way back up to third position.
There's the 06 car. That's Guy Leidig's entry, trying to work his way back up. The 69, one of our Skid Barber Mazda Speed Pro entries, at the moment ahead of Leidig there. So some of these Skid Barber entries, certainly very quick and very capable drivers.
You know what? The Skip Barber class is probably the most cost-effective way to get into pro racing, especially televised.
Absolutely. No question that it's a great opportunity for some of these drivers. They're trying to take advantage of it. There's Kenton Cook in the 96. He's leading that category.
And he's looking good.
Yeah.
The MX-5s are just so good as a race car. They do everything right. And they've got that hot little reliable engine making 200 horse. And Laguna Seca's corkscrew just highlights their handling. Those cars are fantastic through there.
Down the hill, heading down toward turn 9, 10, and 11 here at Mazda Raceway. Be a three-wide battle, it looks like, momentarily there.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to split him.
Kenton Cook in the 96 is leading the Skip Barber Mazda Speed Pro Challenge class out of 11 and out of the front straightaway.
And using that AstroTurf there in turn 11, that's what that actually is.
Now, can you get enough bite on that? That's got to be slick here.
No, you can't. But you don't have to slow down. You kind of do a slide for life across that.
Zachary Lee in the 69 out of San Antonio, Texas, second in the Skip Barber Mazda Speed Pro Challenge. We take a look at one of the Alara entries. I believe that's the car of Tim Probert, the 26. Yes, it is, as he heads under the Mother's Bridge and toward the uphill portion of the course.
Here's some action down into turn 5.
How about Matt Schultz with his hands full trying to get by, and he does get by Elliott Skier in the 17. Skier struggling, one of those C.J. Wilson entries you were talking about.
We don't see Elliott getting past very often. I'm impressed with Schultz. He's really running well today.
Out of Clackamas, Washington, first-timer here this weekend, did not run at Sebring, the opening doubleheader of the campaign. 11 races making up the championship season in 2012 for the Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup. The winner, of course, gets a funded ride one step further up the ladder, whether that's in Pirelli World Challenge or in Grand Am, possibly the Continental Tire Series. That's up to Mazda, of course, and of course to the driver and his race team. We'll see where they decide to go.
Look at this gap that Schultz has opened up out of the corkscrew. Remember I said that's an important key to the race here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and he's a lot better there than Skier is. Skier was better in turn 6 and got him on his tail. Now out of turn 11, I think Schultz is starting to open the gap. He's just running quicker. He's in a better position right now.
He is pulling Skier up the hill under the start-finish bridge here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, off to turns 1 and 2. Elliott Skier, I wonder, he's a young driver, 17 years of age, very capable as we've seen so far in the early going this season. Points leader coming in here today. Sometimes young drivers, when they suffer a setback, as we see Aaron Malkasian, he's gotten shuffled back to 4th after starting on the pole. Sometimes a young driver will suffer some adversity, be penalized, and it gets into your head a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder. You know, he said he was going to have a little different strategy. Personally, I hate getting yelled at. I don't like getting called into the principal's office. And for Elliott Skier, maybe that's part of the effect. For Aaron Malkasian, wow, he's in 4th position after a stop and go. That is amazing. It's a credit to the fact that he got in and out fast. We saw him make that dive for pit lane. And good luck that Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca has a short pit lane. He only lost 2 positions. That's incredible. Normally, it's way worse.
Race leader continues to be John Dean for the 6 Sideways team out of Sebring, Florida.
We haven't talked about him much, but what a great job he's doing up front. Just solid.
The projections research entry, Dean doing a great job. The storyline for this race team, that was a drifting team, small team out of Sebring. And they say, hey, let's go pro racing. Let's get a couple of these cars. Let's build them. Let's take them to Sebring, see what happens. They have a great opening weekend at Sebring as we watch Christian Simzak starting to make his way toward the front as well. 3rd now behind Dean Copeland.
Well,
these guys have caught on quickly.
You know what? Drifting teaches you car control.
Sure.
And car control is speed.
Daniel Sparks finding speed. He's up to 5th here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Back on the Mazda Motorsports Hour at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup. C.J. Wilson's race car struggling here today, but that's not the norm for this race team that is on the rise. You might have heard of the team principal, C.J. Wilson. He doesn't come to the racetrack very often because he's got a rather interesting primary job.
Racing's something that I've been into since I was, I don't know, as early as I can remember. I've always been into cars. I remember being a kid, my dad was on the pit crew for a dirt track midget team. And I used to go because they had good Jolly Ranchers, and then I got addicted to the smell of racing gas. And ever since then, it's just been something that I've always really wanted to do. And until a couple years ago, I really wasn't able to do it because I was so busy with baseball. And then out here at Motorsport Ranch, they have a program where you can just kind of sign up as a member, and then you can just go out there and drive your street car. So I started out there driving my street car, and then I got hooked up with Jason and Julianne when they were at MER, and I got one of these MX-5 Cup cars, and it's just kind of literally been off to the races since then. I got my license, and I just love every minute of it. It's great. I think one of the coolest things about racing is just the fact that everything is competition. It's the ultimate form of competition because, I mean, if you watch professional racing on TV, they track everything. They track the pit stops, and that's really I think, the coolest thing. It comes down to thousandths of a second, and it's about just being perfect, and I think that's my favorite thing about it. The Mazda car is so durable. Like when we drive it for 25 hours at the Thunderhill race, and I really don't know that many other cars that can survive that kind of punishment. You know, that when you stick like amateur club racers really like in a car for 25 hours and have it hold up and actually be faster in that 22nd, 23rd, 24th hour than it was in the second or third. It's just really amazing. The biggest thing is just trying to go out there and improve each race and improve our results and everything from our hospitality to our, our sponsorship, and just increase the winning corporate culture, that we have with the race team overall. I really couldn't be happier to have the team start the way it has.
They have gotten off to a great start in the Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup season. They run a team, of course, in Grand Am and the Continental Tire Series as well. Nice to watch a guy who's making his living, a very successful Major League pitcher, now with the LA Angels after signing as a free agent going into the 2012 season. Putting his money into racing, that's a great thing.
Boy, I know that feeling of loving the pursuit of perfection in racing, trying to go faster in every way possible. That's what they're doing at the front of this field right now. John Dean is not cruising up there. He's got that guy right in his ears, Dean Copeland, waiting for the slightest mistake, and he's looking for everything to be perfect every lap. Always look to do that corner the best possible, and when he sees traffic coming, he gets nervous because it can get in the way and change the whole complexion of the race.
Six Sideways race team, two cars, the antithesis really of what C.J. Wilson's trying to do in this series and also in Grand Am. Interesting contrast, certainly the C.J. Wilson guys kind of struggling here in the second half of this weekend doubleheader. How about Dean Copeland? Got knocked out of race number one. We saw that at the top of our broadcast today. On the charge, he's right there, the meat in the Six Sideways sandwich, if you will.
I remember him from Sebring, the one-car team, doing it on their own, and he's running great. Dean Copeland can really get quick out there, and it looks like he's getting some help. Emily Tominovich has made it easy for these guys to get by.
Emily, of course, one of the C.J. Wilson entries in the True Car machine. She's kind of at the back of the pack, unfortunately, here today. Dean Copeland in second spot, not Dean Copeland, but John Dean, Dean Copeland, Christian Simzak, 1, 2, and 3. As the clock is starting to become a factor here. The fog lifting now at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
Look at Simzak. He is reeling in the leaders. I think he's the quickest guy on the track right now.
Meantime, second spot, Dean Copeland, our Replay XD onboard view.
I love this onboard shot. It reminds me of me being the driver, right? This is the reality of what it's like. Down to third, into turn 4.
And trying to chase down the leader. John Dean's got clean racetrack in front of him, great shape. A little further back, one of the C.J. Wilson cars, youngster Brandon Kidd. Team engineer Mark Miller knows what it's like to use this series as a stepping stone.
Without a doubt, anyone who comes into this series gets experience in not only the kind of a sports car program. These cars are production-based, but so are the GT cars, Grand Am Series, SCCA World Challenge. Those are touring car classes. They're all production-based cars. So getting experience here is going to be very important. And when you move up to those series, you have to work with engineers, you have driver coaches, you have data acquisition and telemetry. So if you can get that experience here at the lower level and do well with it, it helps you later on.
You know what, Rick Benjamin? If I was moving up to pro racing right now, I would be in this series.
Oh, yeah.
This is the equivalent of what I started in 25 years ago.
Absolutely. Terrific series to learn. Great competition. It's a lot of fun to be part of this. No question about it as we see Brandon Kidd in the 10 battling there. Oh, and one car goes off. That's Dean Copeland off in the kitty litter coming down the hill toward 11.
Well, he got back on track. I'm giving a lot of credit for that.
Wow. So Dean Copeland, who was running second, gives that spot up. He loses that position, it appears. Let's take another look here as we come into the corner.
Okay, we're coming down into turn 10.
Uh-oh.
He's in hot. Oh, he's got some traffic.
Oh, contact.
Oh, no, he got run off the road.
Well, did he, or did he just run over that Skip Barber Mazda Speed Pro Challenge competitor?
Depends on which guy you ask.
Kevin Copeland, his dad, his crew chief, shaking his head, talking to his son on the radio. 15 laps are on the board. I think Dean Copeland, the closing speed is what caught him out there.
You are correct. That car was way slower into turn 10, and Copeland just, well, really, frankly, didn't compensate for it properly.
And sometimes, if you just don't drive, if you drive too close to the nose of your car, you don't look far enough down the racetrack, you can get in that kind of trouble. All right, welcome back. We're at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, the Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup, part of the Mazda Motorsports Hour. 16 laps are on the board. The fog is lifted in most cases, certainly around the racetrack, maybe not for some drivers. This is a good battle for position. Kidd and Brent Mosing back there. One of our, trouble for Nathaniel Sparks. Sparks off.
Oh, too bad. I was really feeling good about how well he was running, and he's out in the dust.
Side-by-side action up the hill. Meantime, Kidd again and Mosing for position, and Kidd in the C.J. Wilson car gets around Mosing.
And hurts his exit speed, and now Brian Hickson in the Skip Barber car has gone by him as well.
Oh, more trouble. Another car off into the weeds. Big dust clouds here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
The fog has lifted, and the
Maybe
dust
not.
is taken over.
Maybe the red mist has crept in, and another car in trouble.
Oh,
a
my
tank
gosh.
slapper. Another one of the C.J. Wilson entries off in the kitty litter late in the going here. That's Kidd.
That's Brandon. Keep it going now. Come on. Remember I said Copeland did a good job of getting through the gravel?
And the
cars
99.
off everywhere. Could be somebody oiling this track down.
Is the red mist what's descended upon this racetrack? The 99, one of our entries in the Skip Barber Mazda Speed Pro Challenge. That's David Knight from Jericho, Vermont. As we check
Kidd's
back
got
in
the
on Brandon
wipers
Kidd.
going.
Yeah.
That's not going to help. Too bad.
Gonna have to get a wrecker over there to catch him. He's done, it appears. The 2-6 sideways cars, 1-2 now in the late going.
Hey, they don't mind a little oil. They're used to driving sideways. That's why they're called 6 sideways. These guys are looking good. It's like, what's the problem? We're just going for it.
Christian Simzak, 1-2. It's going to be a great day, it looks like, for 6 sideways in the final moments here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
Hey, don't count your chickens, Rick Benjamin. The race ain't over yet, and you don't win until you drive under the checker.
Don't carry the hats to victory lane until the checkered flag is in the air, and we're getting close. 1 to go at Mazda Raceway.
1 to go. Now, if I'm John Dean, I'm going to take it a little easy. I got my teammate a couple seconds back. No stupid mistakes at this point. Let's just bring it home. Apex, apex, apex. Look, he's got a little smoke coming off that car.
Now, we know these BF Goodrich tires are very, very durable, as are these race cars. Are you thinking tire management at this point?
No, not at all. But if he knew he was smoking in the right front, he'd be worried. It could be just a tire rub, or maybe there's a mechanical issue. Whatever it is, let's hope it holds out till he gets back to the finish line.
One of our Replay XD onboard looks looking back from John Dean's machine and his teammate Christian Simzak's car as they start up the hill for the final time.
They're looking good, and they've just got one more lap, one more half lap, one more shot through the corkscrew.
As we start up that hill one final time, John Dean's lead over his teammate Simzak down to 8 or 9 car lengths. Simzak on a late charge here.
Well, I think Simzak is going to give it all he can give it to try to get a shot at Dean, maybe down there in turn 11. It's the last lap desperation pass. Remember that pass at Sebring?
Sure.
This is an opportunity for Simzak to get even, to stick it up under John Dean.
The only team orders in most cases in this sport are don't wreck your teammate.
Yeah, that's the truth. Come on, Christian. Get up there, get up there. He's not close enough unless it's a crazy move.
Heading down to turn 11, final time. Dean and Simzak 1-2. Dean with a couple of car length lead should be able to bring it home. Final time up the front straightaway at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
Simzak in the draft, but he's not close enough. John Dean takes the win for Sebring, Florida. Good for you.
And Dean Copeland back on the racetrack, able to keep it going despite losing a lot of ground. He will come across in third, fourth to Aaron Malkasian, and the 2 teammates out of turn 2 celebrating together. John Dean is our winner of the 4th race of the Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup season here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Great battle, great outing for John Dean.
Look, they're trying to give us a little drifting demonstration. Careful there, Christian. Don't throw it in the wall. It's not easy to drift a car that's not set up for it, frankly.
Yeah, Christian Simzak comes across the line in second position. Nice day for those 2 contenders out of Sebring, the team based in Sebring. The Simzak races out of Palos Verdes here in California. And Dean smoking the tires
See
a
that
little
smoke?
bit. Yeah.
I wonder what happened there, because he was ahead the whole race. He never rubbed anybody.
Good battle to the stripe for our Skip Barber Mazda Speed Pro Challenge contenders. Kenton Cook in the 96 comes home the winner of this event as well here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. So a lot of storylines in the Mazda Motorsports Hour. We'll come back and run through several of them for you when we return in just a moment.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
There's the smile and celebration of the winner, John Dean, high-fiving his teammate. You finally got a chance to show the speed that we talked about in your car this weekend.
We were struggling from the moment we got here. Some sort of suspension issue we can't find. Car was brilliant. We worked it last night until 10 o'clock. Josh with Six Sideways, unbelievable mechanic. I'm glad he's part of the team. It's just fantastic. We had a tough week, really tough week. Qualifying was a disaster. First race was just lucky to stay in there in fourth place. Just kind of a spectator in that race. And I feel bad. Dean got tangled up there with lap traffic. I don't know if I made contact with him at all, but it was really difficult and unfortunate for him because he should have been, could have been second. He would have had a battle with Christian, and I don't think he would have come. Christian was on a charge there, unbelievable. I can't be happier.
Great run. Team Six Sideways has both cars on the podium again this weekend at Mazda Raceway.
Get in here, man.
Hey.
Big group.
Wow, look at this. Oh, how lucky am I? I don't feel so bad about finishing second at all.
Christian, talk about your second place run. Another double podium finish for this Six Sideways team.
Oh, it was phenomenal. You know, I was chasing down the leaders, and I was hoping I could catch them, and the car was just great. I've never driven a car this good in the series, so it was just a fantastic race, and I'm ecstatic.
And you guys did it. You guys did it with a skeleton crew this weekend too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, one guy put together these cars, and he's never even seen these things until a couple of months ago. So the guy's brilliant. We've got a great team going here, and I'm happy to be in it.
Ride the wave, enjoying the momentum.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's what's great about MX-5 Cup. You can run two cars with one crew guy.
It's an amazing thing and great success for Dean and Simzak. First-year team in this series. They run 1-2 here today. Dean Copeland rallies for third. That's a one-car family team. Armalcation, one of the bigger teams, next in line. Brent Mosing 11th. Stephen McAleer, tough day for him.
Boy, I'll tell you, the C.J. Wilson cars had a tough day today.
All right, let's take a look at what happened with the 7 car. Dean Copeland with some damage to the right front corner, but he does manage to get to the podium. Back to top.
Dean Copeland, I know you're on the podium, and that's some consolation, but you know you had a faster car than that.
Yeah, they got us out here running with these Skip Barber cars, and there's the first place guy in that series is good, and then from there on back, they're just a bunch of clowns. I mean, I was right on the leader with 2 to go, come around the pass, and these guys just don't even look in their mirrors. I mean, just flat, clean the side of my right side of my car, off in the sand. We salvaged third, so, I mean, it's just bittersweet.
It's frustrating, Dean, but you know what you have to deal with here.
And sometimes as a young driver, you've got to avoid losing your temper on the racetrack. John Dean, the points leader after the win today. McAleer, Simzak, Aram Alkazian, and Elliott Skier, the rest of the top 5. We take a look at the Skip Barber Mazda Speed Pro Challenge results. Kenton Cook, the winner. Zachary Lee, Hickson, and Kevin Marshall. Then Tuttle, David Knight, and Douglas Brown wrapping things up here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Next up for the Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup, a trip to Mid-Ohio in mid-June. We'll wrap it up at Road America late in June. A full season's worth of action coming your way. We congratulate our winner today, John Dean. A wild weekend of action here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. For Todd Lewis on Pit Road and Randy Popes, I'm Rick Benjamin. Thanks for watching the Playboy Mazda MX-5 Cup, and thanks for watching the Mazda Motorsports Hour. We'll see you next time.